Okay, so for ART2, you guys first brainstormed 4 themes. And for under each theme, you came up with 4 to 5 objects that would follow that theme that you could draw that you actually even have at home. So you don't look at pictures. I'm going to ask you to take pictures of your objects and turn them in with your drawings. So for autumn, I thought of leaves, candles, pumpkins, candy. Apples can go on this list. Travel, could be maps, sunglasses, keys, water bottle, anything I take with me on traveling. Okay, so whatever objects you have at home, pick a theme around those. It can be a collection such as tools, flowers, food such as sweets. So if you have a lot of desserts around, such as candies, cupcakes, muffins, be picture frames, if you have all kinds of different picture frames, seashells, anything. Once you have your theme, star the one that you're gonna do, and then you came up with a layout. So this is my rectangle is my paper, and I had to divide it up into 16 spaces. So this is the one I want to do, and then I also came up with a second one that was possible with more circles. So use a ruler for your final thing, but for this, just sketch it, and I would number it as well. Because after you number it, you're then gonna come over to this side where you're going to replicate these spaces on your page. So this is where your viewfinder will come in handy. So everyone should have made a viewfinder with dental floss or string, cardboard, or any kind of stiff board you have at home, such as cereal boxes, cardstock, anything that's sturdy like cardboard, and then string or dental floss for this part. So watch that video on how to make a viewfinder. And you also saved this extra piece of cardboard. Now, to do your rough draft sketching, so I first did my pumpkin, and then I'm gonna move on to my leaves, my apples, and then my candy. So I numbered which boxes I was using from this layout. So this is box number 6 from over here, and I redid that shape. The reason you wanna kind of pick these shapes is because depending on what size this is will determine how you use your viewfinder and how much space you'll have for zooming in on your objects. So I'm gonna show you how to use your viewfinder and how to draw this. So I'm gonna move to my new page. Okay, so if I'm doing my apple, and say I'm actually gonna draw it from a on top view, so like a bird's eye view. And let's see, I'm gonna do, so I X'd out the ones I've already drawn. Let's do box number 12. So if I'm gonna do box number 12, pencil. And box number 12 is a narrow rectangular space. I'm gonna number it 12, so that's where I would put my apple. Now, if my apple is sitting over here and I have my viewfinder, now this is a narrow box. You have all kinds of ways you can use your viewfinder to match these sizes, so that's why you have this extra piece, because I'm gonna pick a view and a cropping method and use this because it's a narrow space. I then use a narrow piece of my viewfinder. So I'm using my left hand or my non-dominant hand, and I'm gonna look through, and this is maybe how I wanna see my apple. And I can play with it. Maybe I wanna be more on top from this view, maybe more from down low. However I see it inside of these boxes is how I'm going to draw it on my paper. So I'm gonna put it over there. So I have 6 boxes, so I'm going to divide up my space here in 6 roughly equal boxes. So they have to be pretty close to squares because these are squares, and it won't work if these are not relatively the same. So I'm gonna hold it and say I'm gonna look right about there. That's what I see. And I'm gonna follow the grid. So I see my apple. And I can do some of these color changes. And say that is it. And then maybe I draw a little bit of my shadow. What would it be? Okay, and that is it. And then I will decide my materials. So if this was a box like a square, I would only use 4 spaces on here. So I would pretend I can cover up this last one, and I would only look through 4 boxes. And I'd pick a new view, so maybe I turn my apple this time and I'm looking more on top of it. And you just keep turning it. It has to be multiple views and zooming in and cropping out pieces of it, or you can do the whole thing from on top, as long as it fits inside of your boxes. Now, if you were doing more of circles for your breaking up method, so if you have circles, pretend it is a square or a rectangle and break it up in gridding and then just round the edges. Okay, it still works, you just round the edges around the box that you do. Okay, so it matches your viewfinder. So you're gonna use your viewfinder for all your views. Then when you're all done with all of your rough drafting, if you look at the slides I put on Canvas, you can only use one material once. So this is pastel, chalk pastel. I can only use chalk pastel once. Then my next one, I could do paint, but I can only use paint once. Color pencil once. Now, you're gonna run out of supplies ideas. So this could mean you start using spices, mud, juice. You have orange juice, cranberry juice. You could use, marker, but maybe you use water and marker, so it's more like watercolor, okay? Get creative with how you can use these materials because you'll start running out. I guarantee you don't have 16 materials. Not one of these boxes can look the same. Then if you look at the slides, you start seeing that there's also different styles, such as pop art. So pop art is more like your comic book style. We have fauvism, which is crazy colors. We have impressionism, like a Van Gogh painting. So it's more blurry and dashed with the strokes, okay? You can also do multimedia. So say I want to do chalk and watercolor. I can't do chalk and watercolor in another box, okay? You can mix them up, but you can't have the same thing in another box, okay? So once you get all of these rough drafts, you're gonna do all your 16 views, 4 views of pumpkin, then I'm gonna do my 4 of my leaves, my apples. You have to do your rough drafts. Take the pictures, turn them into the rough draft area. This part was turned in before, so take a picture of this first. Then when you're done with the rough drafts, you take pictures of your rough draft pages, okay? Then you'll use a 12 by 18 sheet of paper and you'll do what you did in your sketchbook here and draw it for real. Neater, nicer, more finished. The best work you can do, okay? If you don't have 12 by 18 piece, use a half sheet of poster board, okay? If you have questions, let me know.